No, I don't, because there's nobody in the audience.
There's nobody here. Okay, that's perfect. All right, here we go. I am calling to order this special meeting of the Park Ridge Park District Board of Park Commissioners. Today is Thursday, July 2nd, 2020, and it is 7:01 p.m. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Grau?
Here.
Commissioner Harrington?
Here.
Commissioner LeDuc?
Here.
Here.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Here.
Commissioner Tunnell? Commissioner Tunnell? Commissioner Coyne?
Here.
Commissioner Coyne?
Here. Okay, would anybody like to amend, add, or delete an item to the current agenda? Commissioner Tunnell, please mute your microphone. Hearing none, there would be no public comment because I don't think there's anybody here, but I'll just double check again in case someone joined us late.
Correct, there's nobody here.
Okay, perfect. And then we move directly on to the Executive Director report, and I will turn it over to Executive Director Mountcastle.
Wonderful. Thank you, President Coyne. So we all know that we've moved into phase 4 of the reopening the Restore Illinois plan. We received late Friday the guidance from the governor and then from IDPH about an hour later at 5 o'clock at night. And I'm happy to report that the staff got all the facilities ready to go. Of course, we were anticipating what was going to be in the order, and we were spot on in terms of, you know, the numbers and the capacities. So we had set up for exactly what we needed to. Of course, there were some things that we had to minorly adjust, and we were all set to go Monday morning. The Splash Pad, Fitness Center, and Hinckley all opened on Monday. So that was great. We'll go into a little bit more of the detail of what's been going on in the facilities, but I first wanted to share some great news that we received this week. That came out at the last report. We talked about the unemployment reimbursement and that we were anticipating but had not gotten confirmation on 50% reimbursement. Now this week we have gotten confirmation that we will be eligible for 100% unemployment costs back to the district. There's a new act that was passed, Illinois Public Act 101-0633. That combined with the CARES Act will give us 100% reimbursement. So this is wonderful news. This reimbursement will be incorporated into our projection scenarios for the next meeting, July 16th, where Superintendent DeAngelis will give the update on the modeling projections. So what does that mean? Our initial unemployment estimates were projected due to the state for unemployment of 330,000 in September and 105,000 in December for a total of $435,000. At last month's meeting, we gave the projections, and that reduced that estimate amount by 50%, and that was what was in that modeling scenario, to 165,000 in September and 52,500 in December for a total of 217,500 in projected unemployment expense. So our projections will be updated to eliminate all unemployment expense, and that will reduce our projected deficits in both of those scenarios by an additional $217,500. So that was big news this week. And Superintendent DeAngelis is on the line, and she can expand on that if there's any questions at this point. Any questions on that particular item? I will keep moving along unless somebody steps in and has questions. I'll move on to the recreation program. Superintendent Armour is also on the line and can expand on any of this information. And if not, we can, of course, get back to you with any further information after the meeting if we don't have that information. So the camp is, as we had talked about, it's starting out slow. It had 45 campers, but they had a great first week. Our next session has 50 enrolled. The Per Kids Half Day Camp currently has 7 enrolled. I believe that's for the next session. Wildwood Nature Center new in-person classes, full with a wait list, and Nature Camp Jam Pack has 32 enrolled. Both will run the week of July 13th. Our virtual classes that are running for Survival Lab, Pet Doctor, and Creatures of the Night. Some other highlights in the rec area are the tennis numbers are the highest they have been since 2012. And the men's softball league is currently accepting registration. So it seems to be that the shorter time frame classes are the ones that are picking up. At the Activity Center, they're going to start offering 26 different programs in person in July and August for adults and active adults. They've chosen the programs based on ability to comply with the social distancing requirements and include active adult fitness, special interest classes, and a few events. 2 of the fitness classes have already reached their maximums and 2 have reached their minimums. So this age group seems to be ready to get out and start, using some of the classes and facilities. They're looking to combine the classes that have not met their minimum numbers. There's a couple other classes, art workshop, ukulele ensemble, readers theater. They've all met their minimums to run later this month as well. The STAR membership and drop-in programs will remain suspended, as we had discussed. They're taking appointment only in-person registration that began this week, and they have 34 that have taken advantage of that option. And then the Bridgeton Art Center is running, their virtual programs have been very popular. They have 67 participants. In addition, they have 14 small group classes and birthday parties booked for July. Any questions so far?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought I saw in one of the things that you put out for the Activity Center, and actually it pains me to say this because I participate in this activity, that you were going to allow bridge lessons. And I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay, I'll have Superintendent Armour speak to that.
Yeah, it's like I say, I participate in that one, and it's not a big class, but you just by the nature of the beast, you bring people together and they're touching cards, and I just don't think it's a good idea. It's also older, it's an older crowd.
Right, I'll have to check with Jennifer Myers, the manager. I know they were coming up with some different protocols and scenarios for each specific class, so I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah, don't tell them that I ratted them out, please. But it's seriously,
You are being recorded.
I don't think it's a good idea. I'll tell you this. I think going back to or maybe you're not there yet, but I think the outdoor fitness classes are fantastic.
Right. Yeah, we're getting to that. Thank you. The staff has been unbelievably creative across the board, and I'm really proud of everybody. So I'm going to move on to the ice rink. As we know, that was one of the first things that opened in phase 3. They opened June 1st with the majority of their programming beginning Monday, June 8th. They've looked at several options, including scaled back competitive edge, figure skating, learn to skate, hockey, and speed skating. The utilization rates all across the board look very good to me. Their learn to skate is 85% with 51 people enrolled. Learn to play hockey is at 95% utilization. Competitive edge figure skating is 80% utilization. Competitive edge hockey camps are at 83% utilization. Figure skating freestyle sessions are at 98% utilization. That's one of the big summer programs, there's 2,926 enrollments. Short track speed skating is at 160 enrollments with 89% utilization. So the total arena programming revenue is $87,330. And then the ice rental usage for summer private rentals is at 80%. So ice rink is going very well. And I've heard no complaints about any of their processes as well either. Any questions on the
With those kinds of numbers and participation levels, how do they manage social distancing?
Those are all within the guidelines for social distancing. Those are all, they've measured the ice, and so they only put on, April, jump in if I'm saying something incorrect, but they only put in, on the ice, the number so they can 6 foot social distance.
Okay.
Correct?
That's correct. And then they have the times staggered. So they come in and they have like a staging area and then shift one group in into their spot. And then, 10 or 15 minutes later, the next group goes in. So they each, depending on the program, they're in either groups of 2 or 3. And then they go straight out the back door. So it's actually working out very well.
Okay.
So the other great news is the driving range, and I believe we reported on that as well in the June 18th report, but their year-to-date revenue through May 30th through June 30th is virtually the same. It's about 1,000, a little over 1,000 less than last year when we opened April 20th. So basically, over a month earlier. So last year's revenue to date was $68,959. So the driving range has definitely increased participation. The golf classes are at 77% utilization. Golf camps are at 99% utilization, and they open 4 additional camps to meet that demand. So these are the types of things that people seem to be signing up for, more than the all-day camp options. Although there's people at camp. So the batting cages, they also open in phase 3 a little later, Tuesday, June 9th. The renewal of the affiliate membership agreement was taken care of for 2020 on a prorated basis. And so their token revenue is virtually the same as it was at this point last year. June 9th through June 30th was $762, and in 2019, May 4th through June 30th was $734. Obviously not a lot of money, but they're holding their own over there. Moving on to the fitness center, which opened on Monday, the feedback has been great. The members have been very complimentary of the preparedness of the facility, the cleaning, and the overall experience. Manager Murin had done a Facebook video that helped, tremendously with, the feedback that we were getting was that it just made people feel safe and understand the process, the cleaning, and then what we had done to spread the equipment apart. And even though it was a lot of effort, and Terry would tell you, his staff, I saw some pictures of several of the staff members carrying machines down the stairs, but it was a very big job, but I think it's going to be worth it because so many more pieces of the equipment can be used, and then they're spread out throughout the half of the gym. As expected, and as is happening in the industry, we've had cancellations, had 71 households cancel their membership and 82 suspend membership since we sent the reopening email last week, and so that's a total of 153. Since March 12th, we've had 112 households cancel and 93 households suspend, which is a total of 205. So of the 3,390 members, we had 3,390 members prior to March 12th. But the good news is we've had 39 new members signed up this week. So, this is not anything, like I said, unusual that is happening throughout the industry. The daily usage since opening is, I consider it pretty high for the summer months. June 29th, there's 173 visits. Daily, June 30th, 190, July 1st, 152. So those are pretty good numbers for the summer. It is also a holiday week, so we expect participation to increase next week and each following week after that, hopefully. As Commissioner O'Donnell mentioned, the outdoor group fitness classes have been very popular. 15 out of the 24 classes are running at a 62.5% running rate, and the participants are raving about the outdoor classes. The indoor group fitness is being worked on, the schedule, but our feedback from other districts is the participation has been low. We're going to offer, less to start and add additional classes based on participation. We have 3 trainers working at this time, and we're not quite sure right now of the sessions, the number of sessions. We have 1 of the 3 speed and agility classes running for the 8 and 11-year-old age group outdoors. And then the shred challenge finished on 6:30, and we received an email today. A participant loved the challenge, and she's lost 4.4 pounds and loved the structure of the program. So that was good. Any questions? I'll keep going.
No.
Go ahead.
I would only add, I received a tour from Manager Murin on Monday. And I was amazed at what's been done there in the fitness center, and I wanted to thank the staff.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Means a lot.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it really is. I was there on, I think it was Monday, and just, you could tell by when the people walked in, they were very pleased to see all of the equipment in the gym. And I think it's just a good, first look at like the effort that was made, and the Terry and his staff have done a great job with all the cleaning, and, all of the staff at all the facilities were walking around, with the, Terry could probably expand on what those are that we use for the cleaning, but it's just, we really stress the importance that if, we've got to make that known that that's our very first priority is the safety, and the cleaning procedures. Moving on to aquatics, we had a great first week of Hinckley and the splash pad. There were some bumps in the road with registration for the swim times because that is a new process for us taking registration. But the very positive response from those attending. We're trying a new way of doing our visits. This is because it's a work in progress and making sure staff print out the correct reports for checking people in, and having people at the facility in a quick manner so they can get in during their time block. The new procedures for cleaning again and facility maintenance are constantly getting better. Cleaning between swim times, they have a half hour, so they do it as quick as they can. The first 2 days, people reserving times at both the splash pad and Hinckley were a little low as they figured out the new system. But since then, we've seen people take advantage of reserving their time, especially the 10 to 12 times at the splash pad and the 12, 2:30, and 5 times at Hinckley. So they are, we've got the numbers, but, people are getting used to the system, and again, impressed with how we've spaced people out at the Hinckley facility, and they've gotten used to that, and we're filling time slots. And the weather certainly is, in our favor with the heat that we've had this week. Terry and his staff, again, did an unbelievable job of getting everything up and running, as well, of course, as the recreation staff and all of the support staff in the background, IT, and also, all of the finance staff. Rec programs. Did I mention rec programs already? I had it in here twice. Yeah, I did already. I already talked about that. So I believe that's pretty much an update on, just an overview on what's happening out there. It's, again, challenging for everybody. The lifeguards are wearing masks and the staff are wearing masks. There's a lot of reminding each other about that, and, just trying to be extra careful about all of, the safety procedures that we've put in place. There has been some challenges, I think, getting some staff back in certain facilities, but the staff is managing, and we're working through that. And HR has been very helpful in terms of getting people back in and, getting them back to work. So it's all been going very well. Of course, Margaret and her team have been sign experts and making signs, changing signs based on the changed guidance. Does anybody have any questions on the update? If there's no other questions, I wanted to talk about, the last item I wanted to talk about was the change in the board meetings that came out, the direction for board meetings that came out with the executive order number 2020-44, which is the latest disaster declaration by the governor. That basically they're saying that, in-person meetings for boards can start back up again. There's several things that we have to think about in terms of that. And the biggest one that we're not doing, we've discussed, is if we're going to start in-person meetings, which we're completely fine with, there will be limitations on how many people can be in the boardroom, or we can switch it to the O'Connor room. But if we have the board meetings in the boardroom, the board table can have 7 people at the table. So it'd be 6 board members and Margaret, because she's got to work the, work the system. And then myself and 1 board member would be in the audience. Marianne would be either remote or in her office. And then 5 members of the public could come to the meeting. The other staff and the attorney would still be remote. The governor is saying that he is encouraging in-person meetings, but that doesn't mean we have to do them right away if the board is not comfortable. The other option is to go, if we want to go in person, is to go to O'Connor, but there are challenges. We've had meetings there, but there's challenges with the sound and the recording and the I think executive administrative assistant Luke Hurst said that we only have 2 microphones. So then it becomes an issue with the recording is not as good. If we kept remote, we can still have board members that want to come into the meeting. They can still come into the meeting room, but we would just have to make sure we're socially distanced. And we can do that at the board meeting. So there's options there. The other option is if you want to get through the summer with virtual, and then we start back up at the September 17th meeting, because we've added these additional meetings, then we can start up in person then. So I would turn it over to President Coyne. This is solely a board decision at this time, but we cannot do half physically in the room and half remote. We have to either go all remote or all back to the boardroom.
You don't mean half people, you mean
No, sorry, half of the meetings, right, correct.
Right. At one point, just for clarification, when I was talking to Executive Director Mountcastle about this, one idea I had was that these meetings, these extra meetings that I had called during the summer for the COVID-19 would be kind of more conducive to a remote or a virtual meeting because they're relatively short, and we're not going to have typically not going to have things voted upon. But we found out that you can't, once we go down the road of having in-person meetings, we can't have some meetings be virtual and some be in person. But we can, it sounds like, we can have meetings that are part virtual and part in person, but those would be considered in-person meetings at that point.
Right.
Right.
Right. I think I understand what you're saying. Yes, I think so.
Right, because I could be in the boardroom, or anybody, and then other people can access remotely.
Yes.
We can continue that way. So I don't know. I'd like to hear the board's opinions on their own personal comfort on this, and also just the logistics for them, or what they think would be. To me, it's a pretty complicated process to go to what they're calling an in-person meeting right now. So I would like to hear what other board members say. I'm really anxious to see you all face to face, but I want to respect everybody's personal concerns, and just the practicality of running a meeting that way might be actually more complicated than running it the way we're doing it right now. So I'll open that up to anybody that wants to chime in.
I'll speak up. I would prefer for now that we keep these meetings virtual. I would not be comfortable yet with in-person meetings.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner O'Donnell. Anybody else have an opinion?
This is Commissioner Leach. I'm comfortable with in-person meetings, but will defer to the majority of the board. So I'm fine again with virtual meetings as well.
I would prefer to stick with virtual for now. If the rest of the board wants to go to in-person, I can do it, but just health concerns and also wanting to be able to visit my older parents by the end of the summer, I'm kind of happier staying more bubbled for now.
Hi there. Yeah, I think in-person meetings are more effective, but it doesn't sound like the type of in-person meeting we're talking about would be particularly effective. And I'm not in favor of meeting in person. I have thought about going over to the boardroom, and I thought if there's 3 commissioners there, that would be good. And we can do that with remote meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel comfortable sitting in a room full of people, frankly.
Well, so I can kind of, I didn't hear from Commissioner Harrington, I think is the only one that hasn't, and Commissioner Tunnel haven't specifically spoke up yet, but Commissioner Tunnel maybe.
Commissioner Tunnel, I would be comfortable with it, but I would respect everybody's wishes and, wait till we're in a better place, depending on how the next few weeks go. So I would be in favor of at least the next one still be virtual and reevaluate. Sorry for the background noise.
No, don't be. It's
Our
awesome.
Park Ridge
It's
Warriors.
great.
Sorry about that.
It's great that they're out on the fields. That's
Absolutely.
Let me know how the team's doing, John. Commissioner Harrington here. I'm supportive of my other commissioners and their opinions on the subject. I could meet in person with social distancing and masks, or I'm happy to continue in remote.
And as Commissioner Grau made the point that sort of swayed me back the other way, which is that I think real in-person meetings are the more effective way to have a meeting. But this would be a hybrid approach that I think would make it more complicated. The more I think of it, the more complicated it would be than what we already know how to do. This has its flaws for sure, this virtual meeting arrangement that we have. We do have the ability, if a commissioner wants to go into the boardroom or whatever we call it, the meeting room, that they can do that. And so I think I'm hearing consensus on the idea that we would at least go for the next, we can revisit this, of course, but as long as the guidance is where it's at, that we would probably go ahead with just continuing the virtual meetings. Is that what I'm hearing from everybody pretty much? And except for those that obviously are yielding to the majority.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's where we're at. So I think that's where we should go. I think the next meeting will be virtual, probably the one after that, and then we'll see what the governor says.
I think that sounds like a good plan. I'll keep you updated as the changes, obviously.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's all I have to report other than, again, thanking the team. The staff have been amazing all across the district, and so, adaptive to all of this, the new world we're living in. So I thank all of them for all of the efforts.
Yeah, I started to have when you asked if you had questions, I accidentally unmuted and unmuted my microphone. So
Sure.
I have two things. First of all, comment, which is that echoing your compliments of the staff, the creativity and safety precautions that have been put into effect to make people comfortable to come out and use our facilities is really amazing. I'm hopeful that as the public realizes that level of concern, and as Margaret promotes that and other people promote that, that it's almost like, to me, I feel like that's your selling point, as opposed to having, like, for example, this great piece of equipment. We have
Right.
this great safety protocol so that your kids and yourself can be comfortable coming back out. And it wouldn't surprise me that when we find out what they're doing for the bridge, the bridge class that Commissioner O'Donnell was talking about, that they may have already thought of some way to make that safer than he thinks. But I don't know that. But it's just kind of amazing. The second thing, so compliments to the staff, to you, and keep up that great work and try to promote this as much as we can, and we'll get people back out. The second thing, I want to go back to the very first thing that you said, because it's kind of finally sunk in, about the unemployment situation and not having that $217,000 expense.
Right.
I think you were probably waiting for somebody to comment on it, because that's pretty big news, really.
Yeah,
right?
Right.
mean, we'll know more next meeting when we have our financials, but that's going to help us. We're going to look a lot better, I'm guessing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's great. So it's more of a comment than a question, but
Yes.
I just want to make sure I understood that this is pretty big. This is pretty
big news. Yes, it was very, very big news. So it's a big chunk of money. So we're very happy to hear it. Of course, we're all leery until we see it, but they've put it out through IEPD. They put it out through our unemployment consultants. So it is in writing now. So and that's what they're saying. It's hard to believe, right, that they're going to reimburse that 100%, but that's what they're saying. So
great. So any other questions from commissioners or comments on this particular topic? Then I think I'm turning it, unless you don't have anything else, right, Gail?
No, I'm good. No.
So I think I'm turning this over to Commissioner Harrington for the finance section about the natural gas procurement.
Yes.
Another word I can't say.
Super. And I actually have the easy handoff to Superintendent DeAngelis, who worked, actually, would you mind giving a recap of the memo that you placed in the board book and kind of teeing up the discussion?
Not at all. So I have prepared a memo in your board packet that discusses procurement for natural gas and what my recommendation is. We have a contract currently with Constellation Energy that expires at the end of August. So my recommendation is that we do a bid process and request bids for 1, 2, or 3 year terms, and bring that back to the board at our next meeting in July with pricing and move forward from there. So what I included in the memo was a summary of what we looked at in 2016. We did a thorough evaluation. That was the last time we did a bid of a number of different procurement methods. And at that time, the board elected to go ahead with the bid process. So I'm not feeling that anything has really changed related to the different procurement methods. So I did not go through all of that again, but
I'd like to, discuss and get the board's direction. If we want to look at any other procurement method, or if you're happy with the bid process, and if you have any questions. And I also provided some rate information that shows, the variation over the last number of years in the natural gas market. And he always has to join the meeting. I apologize. Cat.
I love it.
He was not here the whole time. I was not showing my camera, and he always shows up when my camera comes on. He's a ham. Okay, so the kind of flat lines at the bottom show the current market rates. There's a green line that shows the rate that the district has paid, and the fluctuations. And one of the number of reasons why I recommend a contract is because of the variation. It helps us with budget certainty, although it's very much a factor. The weather is very much a factor, which drives usage, which, if it's a very cold winter, there's still variables. It's a difficult thing to budget for, but it helps when we kind of don't have to worry about a big spike in the price, in addition to, using more gas. And also I feel that it's a best practice to, like we do with other contracts, like the attorney services, we review these from time to time and go through a bid process. So if anyone has questions, I'm interested in, the board's input on how to move forward with this.
Well, thank you for your very comprehensive memo and thought process. I appreciated hearing the survey of how other government entities handled this similar purchase. So thank you for all that background. Does anyone have any questions for Superintendent DeAngelis?
No, I just wanted to also compliment you on the memo, because I know we've struggled with this in the past. So that data was good data.
Thank you. I struggle with it every time too, so I appreciate that.
So I guess I have a procedure question more than anything. How do we, I think that what you're suggesting is a great idea myself, but do we take a vote on that to go ahead, or do we just get sort of consensus to say, this is where what we want you to do? Because I think that the idea, what you were recommending, is probably the right way to go. But again, that's Matt Coyne's opinion, not necessarily the rest of the board. So
I believe it's consensus.
That's what I was looking for, is consensus. I didn't want to go ahead with the bid process and then have the board, have a lot of questions and, want to reevaluate it or go in a different direction. So.
Shall we see if we have 4 for a consensus?
I agree with what Superintendent DeAngelis is recommending.
Thanks, Commissioner O'Donnell. Commissioner Grau, you did as well?
Yes, I do.
I do as well.
Commissioner Leduc, I do as well.
Right. So that's
Fantastic.
Consensus right there.
Correct. We're
Thank
good.
you. So, appreciate your input, and look forward to bringing you the rates at our next meeting.
Great.
And your cat.
Since we're staying virtual, I imagine he'll be here. He only shows up when the camera's on. Thank you.
And Commissioner Coyne, I'll hand it over to you for what could be your shortest meeting yet.
Yes.
I can go another hour and it'll still be the shortest meeting I've run yet. Okay, just for the record. Okay. But thank you, Commissioner Harrington, for turning it over to me. And I don't know if there's any other items that anybody wants to discuss that aren't on the agenda. We had that opportunity earlier, so I am going to move to adjourn the meeting of the Board of Park Commissioners.
I second. This is Commissioner Tunnel.
And I believe we take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Grau,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrington,
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
Commissioner Leach,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Donnell,
Yes?
Commissioner Tunnel,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne.
Aye,
Thank you.
we stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
for
Thanks.
Thanks,
Have a
everybody.
good night. Go
Have a good
Warriors.
weekend.
Happy 4th.
Bye.
Happy
Bye-bye.
Independence
Happy
Day. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. Enjoy the weekend.